The Queen Charlotte Flair has been out of action from Raw after she had to take a sabbatical to get surgery. Her real-life fiancé Andrade has also not been seen on Raw since the draft took place. In fact, the former NXT champion went undrafted in the 2020 draft. As per WrestleVotes, the current plan is to have them return as a team on Raw so that Charlotte Flair's star power could be used to help elevate Andrade. An idea that's been discussed, however not determined at this point, is an on-screen pairing of Charlotte and Andrade when they return to TV. The idea behind it is to use Charlotte's star power to elevate Andrade into the main event scene. Andrade was one of the top superstars in NXT but has had a lukewarm run on the main roster. His pairing with Zelina Vega was liked by many, but it still did not help him reach main event status. Aligning himself with one of the biggest WWE superstars might help El Idolo to finally tap into his potential and become a breakout star on Raw. The 2020 WWE Slammy Awards, the Best of Raw and SmackDown, is on the horizon. It is set to stream on the WWE Network and all of WWE's social media platforms on December 23rd. We have a long string of lists and nominees this year, including Rivalry of the Year. Sonya Deville recently took to Twitter and made it clear that she's unhappy with WWE over a certain nomination for this category. It began when Mandy Rose tweeted her disappointment over WWE not nominating her Rivalry and Sonya Deville in the list. Sonya Deville responded to Mandy, and took a shot at Lana while doing so. Deville stated that the duo apparently got beat out by a table. She added that she deserved a nomination for Breakout Star of the Year. The duo had a similar conversation on Instagram as well. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville were once the best of friends in storyline. However, it all ended when the SmackDown mystery hacker revealed Deville and Dolph Ziggler's plot to keep Mandy and Otis apart. This resulted in Mandy turning on Deville and kicking off a rivalry with her. The feud lasted for months on end and finally came to an end at SummerSlam 2020. On that night, Deville lost a loser leaves WWE match to Mandy, and hasn't been seen on WWE TV since. Heading into Survivor Series, Lana was put through a table by Nia Jax on 9 different occasions. The angle received a negative reaction from fans, who weren't happy watching the same thing over and over again. WWE has nominated Lana vs. announcer tables in the Rivalry of the Year category for the Slammy Awards. The angle is still going on and Lana has an opportunity to win the women's tag team titles at WWE TLC 2020. She will team up with Asuka to take on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Over the years, whether it's been in NXT or WWE, Sasha Banks and Bayley have been attached at the hip. Their rivalry on the black and gold brand was a turning point for the women's revolution within the company. When Bayley debuted on the main roster, she teamed with Banks and, later on, they became 2-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Earlier this year, Bayley turned on Banks. It later resulted in the Boss defeating her to capture the SmackDown Women's Championship and become a Grand Slam champion in WWE. However, in pro wrestling, rivalries don't last forever and former friends sometimes eventually get back together. It seems that Banks believes the same thing will happen between her and Bayley. Would WWE really unite Sasha Banks and Bayley in marriage? In an interview earlier today with Charlotte Wilder of WWE on Fox, Wilder and Banks covered a wide range of topics. The subject of WWE possibly reuniting her and Bayley once again cropped up. Most of the interview seemed in character, but Banks had a different demeanor when offering her response to the question. Knowing WWE, absolutely. It is so crazy here. Do you not know what I do for a living? Of course. We will be best friends, probably by tomorrow. This is WWE. They'll probably make us get married. Who knows? Maybe next year. It's WWE. As much as you can probably just chalk this up to Banks being silly and poking fun at the WWE creative process, she was also quick to compliment Bayley as being her favorite opponent to be in the ring with. She brings something so different, but at the same time, she makes me so nervous because she's so good. I'm like, whoa, slow down, I'm the greatest. I have to go. Raises hand. When I think about matches with her, I don't want to say I'm lowering myself with other people, I just have to go way up and beyond and above when I wrestle her." WWE Champion Drew McIntyre and Sheamus have now found themselves in trouble following their little tussle on this week's Raw and for putting their hands on WWE official Pat Buck. Fellow WWE official Adam Pearce took to Twitter to apologize to Pat Buck for being unable to help him and stated that Sheamus and McIntyre will face repercussions for their unacceptable behavior against Buck. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus teamed up on WWE Raw this week to take on the team of AJ Styles. Styles, who is also the #1 contender to McIntyre's WWE Championship, got the win for his team by pinning Sheamus after the Celtic Warrior accidentally hit McIntyre with a brogue kick. Later backstage, Sheamus told Charlie Caruso that the kick to the WWE Champion was intentional. It did not take long for the Scottish Warrior to confront Sheamus and a fierce brawl soon broke in between the two friends backstage in front of other superstars and employees. This is when Pat Buck intervened and tried to separate the two men from beating each other up. However, this only infuriated Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, who then proceeded to beat up Buck and ripped off his clothes. They then put Buck through a table, laughed it off, and left together as if nothing ever happened between them. Later on Raw Talk, Sheamus and McIntyre clarified that little fights like these happen between good friends all the time. However, both superstars now find themselves in trouble and will, unfortunately, have to face some sort of punishment, as stated by Adam Pearce. The WWE Universe might know what their repercussions will be on next week's Raw.